First of all, my apologies. And then second of all, here we go. Excellent.
All good.
Thank you. Hello, Mike Vorhaus.
Hi, how are you, Brian?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
Excellent, actually, all in all.
Good.
Newsletter sign up, live audience poll.
Yeah, so forget about the newsletter for a second. Just go ahead and hit one of those poll answers. You're going to submit it, and then you're going to watch the YouTube to see just how quick it is. And depending on YouTube's performance in their low latency stream, it could be the coolest thing you've ever seen, or it might take a few seconds. But it looks like YouTube's having a little bit of trouble today compared to other times. That was a little longer. And then what you can also do is you can keep doing that if you want, of course. You can send me a message. It'll come up on the banner on the bottom of the screen that you see there on YouTube. And the other thing you can do, if you go to the bottom of it, you'll see those emojis, and you can throw emojis up onto the screen.
Right.
And so part of this is, this is a lot of really interesting things going on, right? But the really big thing that everyone needs to know about is this is what ultra low latency streaming is going to bring, and it's just around the corner. There's your high. I know you're familiar with this, and I know it because you've been involved with Maestro, etc. And so I thought I would share this with you. What do you think?
I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's fun.
I'm trying to turn off the second volume, though.
I know. I don't know if that's you or me, so that's good. So let's quit that and just go back to the regular chat. I want to get into your stuff and have a good conversation.
So quit the mobile.
Definitely get rid of the YouTube stream because that's audio coming off.
That's what it is. Okay. That's very cool, though.
So it's pretty cool. So let's get on to other stuff. I want to talk about COVID and your Forbes article. So you wrote a piece talking about the opportunity, which I think makes a lot of sense, for lesser known AVOD brands. Give me a synopsis of what your thought was there, what you wrote about, just for people to catch us up, and then I've got that follow-up question after you do that about linear. But let's hear your take on this so people know what you wrote about if they didn't get a chance to read it.
No big surprise, right? TV viewing's up. I'm sure almost everything I've read says every activity that people have asked about is up, other than, leaving the house or traveling or food or anything. And when you have TV up, you have more people available, you have more hours to look at new TV viewing. You assume you're going to watch your regular shows, assuming you're going to, binge out on connected TV, but you're going to have more time. So eventually you're going to look for other stuff. Plus, the recommendation agents are going to be active, pushing other stuff to you and whatnot. Plus, I think these services have gotten a lot of attention in the press during COVID. So you hear about them, you read about them on the internet, and you go and you check them out. And when they're free, it's really easy to check out.
Exactly right. So a couple of interesting questions on this one. So the first question is, and this is really a good question for you. So I don't want to name too many folks, but people like Terrence Kawaja, who I respect greatly, he's got enough of a name, and Rich Greenfield, they've got enough of a name. So I want to ask you, it seems to me that Terrence Kawaja has focused on AVOD and has never sort of talked about the idea. I think that others have talked about FAST. So FAST is free linear stream. It's just free TV, but on these linear Samsung Plus, And AVOD to me is a little more of the ad-supported on-demand viewing. So, is there a distinction? Am I just buzzword bingo? What do you think?
There is a distinction. The reason I know that is my client Play.Works is doing that exact thing. They're making 24-hour linear channels that have a programming wheel and a program. Presumably that stuff's also archived. And Pluto has this, and I think Tubi has it, or I know Tubi has it, Pluto probably has it. So you go there and you have two choices. You can just hit quote unquote live TV and watch whatever they're programming, and it's one show at a time, it's linear. Or you can go and search for a program or a genre or a channel. they're both ad supported.
Right.
That's a little bit what worries me about this new acronym FAST, which is pretty new. I've only really heard it in the last couple of months. To me, AVOD encompasses both of those, but I get the precise difference.
Right. Right. It's interesting. I've been exploring it, and I think you're right. I think people kind of, as I've found out as I've asked, like people do recognize that distinction. I still haven't gotten it from Terry Kawaja himself, why his chart doesn't have the two different acronyms. But okay, so good. So next thing is,
I think
what are
the
the
interesting question, which is why would you do? Well, certainly, why would you do FAST and not do AVOD? That makes no sense.
Correct.
Everything you do on FAST should be archived and available on demand. By the way, if you want to create a different business model around that, you could conceivably. I know people who are into the concept of free while live or free the first time and then getting the archive you pay for. I think if you do AVOD and you say have content or you get content elsewhere, you create an app for Roku TV. It's going to be a little bit more work to also program a FAST channel.
Right.
But if you've got enough content and a little bit of time, it's really not that hard to do it. I'm pretty sure there's some decent AI tools out there too for doing it.
Right. And well, this is going to feel like I tricked you, but it's 100% what you're saying is true. But the other thing you can add is the cloud graphics. So I'm pulling up these real-time cloud graphic feeds, right? And you can, if you've got that archive of content, but your content creators don't want to be on camera all the time, they just want to do texting and pictures. Like, yeah, you freshen up the feed. All right. So, but here's the next question for you. So, lesser-known brands. I had kind of a funny tweet. It's sort of lame. It's sort of lame for me to talk about my own funny tweet, but the great courses.
If no one else laughed, was it still funny?
Huh? Yeah.
If no one else laughed, was it still funny?
Exactly. Do you know this lesser known brand? The great courses. I'm very nerdy. This is lectures, right? College lectures. And so I started a free trial, and for $20 a month, I do not know how many months I'm gonna keep the subscription for, but wine tasting. I have become a wine expert over 6 episodes. Right, so that's my contribution to the question of like, what's the lesser known, fast AVOD streaming brand that might have Play? My question back to you. Let's talk about PlayWorks, but also, do you have any other lesser known AVOD brands that you think are going to be big hits?
By the way, I think this COVID environment, this stay-at-home environment, is also very, very, very conducive to increased word of mouth. And that's how people have always learned about these kind of rare. Usually people learn about rare media when rare media puts on something tentpole-ish. The guys that own the radio channel and the TV channel in Minnesota, the Hubbards, they have a channel. Can't remember what it's called. I think it's easy to say it's lesser known. But they bought that Kennedy 2-3 hour documentary that I think ABC had produced, and then ABC pulled it and wouldn't run it. So they bought it and they got a bunch of, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, USA bought a bunch of wrestling live broadcast rights. And then they used that to promote the other stuff that they have on USA. So,
Right.
There's a lot of methods for getting known, but they all require a little bit of added time in your life. So if you're squeezing your video viewing into your old life, you're not going to have as much time for that. Lesser known. Well, I will tell you this much. There is going to be a large number of these coming down the road because it's the next somewhat obvious progression from I'm a YouTube creator to I'm a YouTube channel to I've got why, if you have 1 million subs on YouTube, would you not try to be distributed under some rev share with an AVOD platform?
Right. Yeah.
I'll throw a couple out that I'm just discovered over the last couple of months. Couple that are super cool. Tanky for kids.
How do you spell that one?
Tankee. So Playworks is putting them on a Roku channel and also making, I believe, a linear channel for them. Another company that I learned about 9 months ago that Playworks and others are working with, I think they're working with Roku directly in addition to with Playworks, is Donut Media. And that's a large amount of car-related content.
Yep. That Playworks sounds interesting, right? We probably have a follow-up there. Are they doing two-screen?
No.
That's sort of a fun.
They work on multiple screens.
Yeah.
And they run the games for Comcast. So if you're on Comcast and you see a game tile, that's them. By the way, their CEO would be happy to do a chat with you.
Oh, I know. Actually, they the Oberon guys. Oh, they're very successful company. Yes.
Yes, that is correct. And
that would be.
Jonathan is in Israel, where he moved 10 or 15 years ago from New York, and I originally met him at NBC.
So I love this. What we've covered all so far is awesome, and I have this COVID-related insight that's unusual and different, and you nailed it with this word of mouth. Let's dive in just a little bit. What's going on there? Why is that happening? Is there more phone calling? Explain that one to me a bit.
Well, it would certainly appear it's more Zooming than phone calling. Though I did try to call my 93-year-old mother yesterday twice and got no answer, and I know she's not outraging. There's a chance in the world she'll ever see this, so I can say, she's like, I don't want to buy a new phone. What if I die? And then I wasted my money on a brand new phone. It's like these phones cost like $25. No, here's my theory. My theory is, well, first of all, it's kind of a multi-platform theory. First of all, around the house, I mean, I have seen with my own eyes, just some of my friends' own home video and kids and parents are talking about doing stuff together. And so, and I would also say in society, when people used to ask me questions like, what's the newest hot startup? Now I feel like people are more likely to ask me, what are you watching on Netflix?
Right.
So I get to push, Ozark or Sons of Anarchy. So I think it's become, it's funny. The water cooler conversation. Everybody watched something at one time. Thursday night, 9 p.m. and then Friday morning, they're all standing around the water cooler for old people remember water cooler, talking about it. And the traditional TV guys, the Jack Wright, the Bob Wrights, the Les Moonvests, these guys were always saying, oh, in this digital world, the water cooler chat's going away, and the common buzz, and not everybody saw it Thursday night. And it's just so funny having been in this 25 years, because basically all these non-digital guys are dead or dying. They're so insecure and whatnot. And it's like, dude, what happened is the water cooler went away. The conversation didn't go away. The water cooler went away. We don't need to be standing together at a water cooler at work, because this is what people talk about. What did you do yesterday? What did you watch? And then you have less stuff to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm like going to my 93-year-old mom, and I'm saying stuff like, so what's new with you? Which I would never say to her, because nothing is new with her. But I think, I think that people are talking about what do they eat, what did they watch on TV, what did they discover on, my favorite question, what service is that on? Oh, it's on Amazon. Oh, I've been paying for that for 5 years for Prime. I've never figured out how to turn on my video yet.
Right. Exactly. All right. So let's dive in off of that, segue into this one. I tried to do a story of the week, and I didn't do a good job this week, and I'm going to have to talk about Apple TV, because that's I don't even like this. But do you think they're going to buy a Tom Hanks movie? is that going to be like the save year for Apple TV, which I've publicly known that I'm very sad that Steve Jobs passed, as we all are, because of how much they've flailed in TV over the years.
Yeah. But by the way, I thought many years ago, 10 years ago, whenever they started selling music on the App Store, they sold videos, but they didn't sell many of them because there were these emerging other alternatives to getting video. And of course, back then, Apple TV it came out, but it was a clunky little box. You needed to get a friend of yours to put it in, and blah, 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 blah. And I think they just could have sold $10 billion, a real number a year minimum, of video if they'd just been more mass-centric. Look at Roku, look at Chromecast. So,
yeah.
Do I think one big hit production is going to get people to sign up for Apple TV? Well, I mean, if you limit it to those exact words, no. But one of the things about Apple TV is that they have made it incredibly omnipresent. See if it's still here. Yeah. Including if you can see this on my phone, where it's got Apple TV up here at the top. And that's a message telling me that because this phone's only a few months old, that I've got a free 1 year to Apple TV waiting for me. Right. So there's so many ways to get Apple TV free right now that I think if they do enough awareness campaigning to make people aware, Valorant was pretty well advertised. I mean, I don't think anybody's done a better job than Netflix did with the one with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, House
of Cards. Everybody knew that House of Cards was coming out. So if everybody knows that unnamed Tom Hanks movie is coming out, and all the people in Apple Originals, they all know traditional marketing of movies, so they should be able to drive awareness.
Right.
I just think it's such a crowded space. It's like, why, if I'm happy with my cord cutters, non-cord cutters. If I'm not a cord cutter, I'm happy with my DirecTV, and I've got Netflix. Maybe I've got one other one. God knows there's these free ones. I'm not really sure, particularly for one movie, why I'm going to get one more service. I mean, I think Zumo can make an argument. They're the one around sports, I think. Right. So that I'm missing sports.
Fubo. Yeah.
Which one? Fubo. Yeah. I'm missing sports in my non-traditional TV life, so I'm gonna buy Fubo. Now let me say a couple more things. Doing a movie with Tom Hanks will make it easier for them to get other stars to do movies. No question about that. Do not underestimate that. Tom Hanks made a movie for Apple could be important just for making Apple more successful in Hollywood.
Right.
You know what I have not noticed, interesting there, with getting into marketing of movies kind of, is it doesn't seem like these guys do campaigns for the movies on the SVOD services the way they do for traditional theatrical releases. I don't think I've ever seen a guy go on, I should say Leno or Letterman just as a joke. Never see a guy. I haven't seen a guy in years on Leno to promote their movie on Fallon or.
Right. They're not. It's not as visible on the PR side.
By the way, can I just say one more thing since you got me all wound up here?
Yeah.
It seems to me, I don't really have research to prove this, but I think it probably is true. It seems like the real answer is to make an episodic with a big name. It seems like what you really want to do is come out and say, here's a brand new TV series, episodic series, 21 episodes, 10 episodes, whatever it is. And then again, watch it one at a time or binge on it. They're both available to you at the same time. Right. Now you're giving somebody, I think, a bigger reason. I mean, it's in a very simple way. I don't know that 2 hours attracts somebody to a whole sign up, but perhaps 10 hours does.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's a good point. Let's go to TikTok and Kevin Mayer this is an interesting one. Yeah, I'll just say this. I mean, music. I'll just give you this setup. So when Musically came out, I mean, it was just it was awesome, right? So then it went away, and you were like, well, someone will pick it up, and it'll be successful, and voila. But tell me how it makes money, and what insights do you have, based on knowing Kevin, and take it away. I mean, I mean, it's hard, it's fun, and I get it, it's hot, but like, it's even harder for me, and it's still hard for me to see, is Snap gonna make it? And I love Twitter, but is that gonna be, what's the case for TikTok?
All right, boy, you got a lot in there. So ever since I started working for AOL in 1995, and staying active for those 25 years, it's kind of the bottom of the barrel AOL. It's kind of like the worst example of a leftover digital service. But that being said, there's still, hundreds of millions of people consuming content and tens of millions of people still communicating. True with MySpace also. Probably nobody on Friendster anymore. Friendster's probably not up. So I don't really think most of these services don't really disappear. They just kind of wander downhill. And I think they still, provide value. There is a quantum leap in critical mass and network effect that Facebook has achieved that makes it harder to believe that it's going to wander down the way MySpace did. On the other hand, 30 years from now, MySpace is probably 25 years old, 20 years old. There's going to be different technologies. So whether Facebook, and Instagram work on these new technologies, I don't think all the cool ways we communicate today and share and gather information they're not going to change. There's going to be 4K internet, color internet, I mean, whatever the things that have happened in TV, there's some version like that. Okay, so I just wanted to say in general, I don't think it's a zero-sum game. I think people add on these services. They drop some. It looks like some Facebook time has been down, and it looks like it is down with younger people. And it's fairly obvious they picked that up at Instagram. The other thing, too, is that people count these services out way too early. Everybody was like, oh, what a stupid purchase WhatsApp was at 18 billion. Now It turns out that it's actually become quite big for Facebook. Obviously, the best acquisition ever in media, I think, was the billion-dollar acquisition of Instagram by Facebook, which absolutely prevented Facebook, if it would have, from somehow becoming the older service and Snapchat the younger service.
Right.
Snapchat's not going anywhere because A, it's got big critical mass, got big numbers, and it's got big numbers in good markets. It's got hundreds of millions of users in the U.S., whatever the precise number is, and those are very valuable. And some of Mark's 2.5 billion people are in. See, I don't really know him because I call him Zuck if I actually knew him. I have met him. A lot of them are in markets where you're making no money. So I don't think Snapchat's going away. They're building up an ad network. They have shown a tremendous creativity, and I think you'll see more filters and other platforms and other creativity. Will they ever be as big as Facebook? I don't know. I don't even know why that should be somebody's goal. Okay, now that we've discussed the entire ecosystem almost, except for YouTube, which of course no one thought would ever work, TikTok is not going away.
Right. But what is it? What's its next evolution that makes money? It's not going away. I mean, I get it. I love it. I don't know what the music part of it is exactly. Are they paying for those rights or not? I don't know. But the question for me is like, what's that next thing that everybody watches for long periods of time?
Okay. So I believe that TikTok is, let's separate the issue of long-term monetization from everything else. TikTok is like all current algorithmic-based content, different for every person. So as you use TikTok, it learns about you and it delivers content to you. And your experience, my experience as an old man, your experience as a nerd, my 22-year-old godson's experience as a super cool kid, all different. Not true with AOL. We all went to one front page. To some extent, not even true with Yahoo. More true with YouTube, but not even. It's again, YouTube's kind of programmed on a front page versus TikTok's all about you. I'm going to get to the money part.
Yeah.
The other thing that's really, 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 really important about TikTok that I don't think most people are recognizing is a ton of these TikToks are intergenerational. They are, and they're inter-sibling-ish and they're inter-friendship-ish. And this is huge because when 40-year-old mom and 45-year-old dad are doing TikTok dance routines with their 15-year-old daughter and their 14-year-old son, or their 18-year-old son, or their 22-year-old son, this makes it not just kids content anymore. This is the difference between, CBS, or ABC, ABC probably better known as kind of a common place for parents and kids to watch shows together or to watch the same shows. And I guarantee you those parents doing the TikToks and the older siblings and even the older people picking up on their own, it's not a one and done, sort of thing. So I think it's bringing families together. I think that that it's cooperative, which is a very female, driven behavior. There's not that I win, you lose type of competition that, let's say, is in esports or other forms of media. And that's a very positive comment when I say it's a female. In gaming, guys say they want to beat you and women say they want to work with you to do things. Kind of like The Sims. Now, let me just say something very important here. I do consider Kevin Mayer to be a friend. I've known Kevin for, 15, 20 years. We're not close personal friends. I have also done work for him at Disney. So some would argue, I'm not unbiased. I think I am. I think Kevin's a remarkable executive. I was surprised because I really kind of thought, that maybe Chapek would do it for 3 or 4 years, then Kevin would do it, or Kevin would go to another traditional, the CBS crowd looks like the CBS Viacom crowd looks like they could maybe be replaced sooner than later. We just had a changeover with Shell, and I don't even know Jeff Shell, but I'm sure Kevin would have been even better at NBC. I think Kevin Joey's super smart. He saw a lot of stuff, not just easy stuff early on. He's learned brands with the best of them. He's a businessman, but he's got an open mind. Kevin and I used to argue about, is this or is this not a TV set? Clearly he has decided it's a TV set. And I have not talked to him since he took the job. I have, talked to him about relevant subjects.
But
more than, occasionally. But I want to say one last thing, and this finally gets back to what you wanted to press me on. Kevin didn't, and I've not gotten this from him, but I will put my money on it. Kevin didn't go to TikTok because it's cool. Kevin didn't go to TikTok because now he's going to be the cool dad. Kevin went to TikTok because it's a brand new breakthrough platform experience, and he's going to make it into a huge money machine. And Kevin's going to make more money at TikTok and for the TikTok stakeholders and for ByteDance. Is that the right pronunciation?
I don't know, but I assume so.
Thank God I can say TikTok. By the way, I want to start a campaign. I think the actual little video you make should be called Talks, TOKS.
Yes.
And that's kind of a joke with TALKS. So they're selling stuff now. There's in-app purchases available. I think they'll probably expand those dramatically. There will be, and I believe there already is, sponsorship. So I expect you'll see, more advertising. These influencers are going to have the business model for themselves. It's conceivable that TikTok would play some role in helping their creators monetize. But I will tell you one thing, and I said it on the day before Facebook went public, and I said it before Snap went public on TV, which is advertising dollars follow eyeballs. They do. It's proven. Look at the shift to mobile. Look at the shift away from print. Look at the fact that TV's mostly held up. Small shift. Eyeballs follow, dollars follow eyeballs. So if these guys have, 100 million users in the US, and, 300 million users in India, and I heard they're strong in the UK, something, they're going to make, billions of dollars out of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of users with, decent LTV. And I think they're going to give YouTube a run for their money. I'd rather go to TikTok for 20 minutes than go to YouTube for 20 minutes.
So that's our, thank you for that. Fantastic conclusion to our program. That alarm reminded me we're at 12 noon. And I want to do this again. I actually have more, but I think we ought to go and do it another time. Are you willing to do that?
Yeah, well, I think you're really smart, and I'm a fan of yours. And I've been impressed how you've made a very successful business versus working for the man when we first met, say, 10 years ago. So I'm always available for you. And since you've recorded this,
yes.
I got to send it to Kevin.
Yes, that would be awesome. I'll cut it up and it's going to go on my page, so I'll get that to you for sure. Take care, Mike.
You too. Nice to see you.